everybody, and welcome back to A Taste of Manga. Tonight we're going to be talking about Junji Ito's Uzumaki, which came out in 1998. And if you don't know anything about Junji Ito, he's a pretty famous horror mangaka. And his major works include Uzumaki and Gyo and Tomie. I think I'm pronouncing the last one correctly. And he is really known for having beautiful yet really creepy art alongside insane out of left field storytelling. And the plots of his I've only seen the Gyo OVA and I've read this, and both of which are entertaining in their own ways and ridiculously insane in other ways, and that adds to their entertainment, to be honest. Gyo, by the way, is about like farting fish monsters. But Uzumaki is a story about this town that essentially becomes cursed by the spiral. Several people in the town become obsessed with spirals and spiral-shaped things, and several spiral-related incidents happen to various people of this town, and a lot of horrible things happen to the people of this town. And it's sort of up to this. The main character's name is I think it's Kyrie, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And she's just your typical normal high school girl, and then she has to witness all of these crazy things happening in her town. Her and her boyfriend, Shuichi, I think his name is. They watch as these horrors unfold to their relatives, their friends, people in their class, and stuff like that. And it's hard to really talk about this without in my head sounding super ridiculous, because it's this crazy collection of stories about people getting killed or mutilated or transformed by spiral related things. It all just relates back to the spiral. It all circles back into itself, as spirals do. But it's entertaining for sure. And I've mentioned this in videos in the past that there are two genres that I don't think anime does very well, for me personally, and those are comedy and horror. And I put horror. I think you get more I think you get good comedy more often than you get good horror. But when you get good horror, it's good. And now I know this is a manga and it's not an anime, so it's a little different. And I think manga actually works. I think horror works better in manga form. Just because I don't know, it's something about just the art and that creep factor. This guy's art, even the cover. Look at that. Just these two people just... And that's literally the first page you see. But it's just... Junji Ito draws these incredibly detailed depictions of people sometimes getting, dismembered or massacred. Or, there's this one section... I'm not going to spoil too much of, the story itself. But... And I don't know how much the camera's going to focus on that, but just people getting literally drilled into them and their blood drained from them. Shit like that happens in this manga. So, if you're not, it's not, Elfen Lied level of gory, but it has, really weird, sort of, body modification kind of horror elements to it. So, think of, Parasite. So whereas things weird stuff will happen to people's body parts will fall off, body parts will turn into, people will turn into animals, and you could see their transformation as they just lose the human that they used to be, and then now they're becoming a snail or something. That shit happens in here. And you people will just become turn into a spiral themselves. There's this one girl who her fucking head, she has a birthmark or something, and then it eventually it becomes a spiral, and then the spiral just basically devours her head, and she just has this huge hole in her head. Let me see. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it, but Yeah, just shit like that. Oh, actually, it's right up here. But it's just like, it's very aesthetically pleasing. It's fucking creepy to read sometimes. Um, and, you know, it being as ridiculous as it is, it's entertaining at the end of the day. And I think horror is a genre that can kind of get away with that. Like Friday the 13th films are ridiculous and made fun of all the time because they fall into certain tropes. And people like laugh at the tropes they have, but they're still entertaining horror movies that people will watch till the end of time. And while parts of this are like ridiculous I think like tongue in cheek comical at times, um, the ridiculousness adds to it. Um, and I liked how this town was just like cursed, and it goes into detail about like how you would like they're never going to really be able to escape this town, and it answers some questions but not everything. It leaves you in the dark on some stuff, which I liked. I liked how it doesn't hold your hand like the whole way through. Um, as it's throwing like curveball after curveball at you with like weird shit happening, like people turning into snails. What else? There's people that their hair grows out to like ridiculous lengths, and they have like this like hair battle, like it's some kind of like DBZ episode, and they got like hair power levels going on. Um, there's people like sucking the blood out of each other, like they're mosquitoes. There's literally a dude who morphs himself into a spiral. Like he climbs into this like container, and he's obsessed with the spiral for like days, and then he climbs into this like spiral shaped like container, and he this like circular container, and then he like contorts his body so much that he just like he forms into a spiral like snake kind of being and dies. Um, you got lovers that just they go into like an ocean, tied together in a spiral forever for some reason. That shit happens. Like ridiculous shit happens, and kind of the funny part to me is like this stuff happens, and then like people kind of just have to deal with it because it's just kind of how the town has become by that point. Like I said, people there's a part where like characters are turning into animals, snails specifically, and these other people from out of town come in, and they see these like giant person-sized snails, and they're like, "What the fuck is that thing?" And Kirei, I was dying when I read this because the main character girl, Kirei, just goes, "Oh, those are snail people. Sometimes people in this town just turn into snails." And it's literally just like said like that, and it's hilarious. So it's a perfect blend of like creepy and hilarity, yeah, whatever. But yeah, read Uzumaki. It's really cool. It's 3 volumes, but you can. I'm pretty sure that this is probably the best way to get it. You can get an all-in-one. I haven't read any of his other stuff. This makes me like slightly interested, although I've seen the Gyo OVA, and while that was entertaining, I wasn't super into it, and I always thought that the concept of this sounded way more entertaining. And if I had to compare this to the Gyo OVA, this was far more entertaining. And I don't know if this would really work as an anime. I kind of like the fact that this is it's the manga. I think there's a live action film, but I don't really have an interest in seeing that. I like the creep factor here. It's really easy to read. It's pretty fast paced. You got a lot of sort of like, it's like a collection of these like short story incidents that happen within the town, and just like it has like a couple main characters that just sort of happen to be there a lot of the time. If I had to say anything like I didn't like, I wasn't that big on the ending. But I kind of get why the ending was the way that it is. And I don't want to spoil this. I guess I'll leave it at that. But not all of your questions are going to be answered. And I know I said that it was like a positive thing, but there were some more questions that I kind of wanted answered. And it kind of just leaves you asking some more. And then they give this like bonus chapter at the end that doesn't really provide a whole lot. I didn't think. It's just like really like an extra thing. Like I feel like they could have put that in like the middle of the book, and it really wouldn't have changed all that much. But maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe I missed something. I'm sure someone will let me know. But if you're into horror, if you're into manga, check out Uzumaki. And if you liked Gyo, or if you liked Tomie, or if you liked the Junji Ito collection anime that recently came out, and you haven't seen Uzumaki, haven't read Uzumaki, please read it. If you have read this and you like it, I guess I would recommend, besides his other works, it's actually pretty hard to find manga. I've never seen it in print form, but a manga called Ibitsu, Ibitsu. And it's a very creepy story about this dude that like finds this fucking girl in the trash, and then she stalks him and tries to kill him, and it's fucking creepy as fuck and gory at times, and it's got everything like this has, minus like some of the ridiculousness, and the art isn't as good as it is in here. Junji Ito, really cool dude. Highly recommend that you check out Uzumaki. Did you guys like Uzumaki? Do you like Junji Ito? How do you think about like my comparison to this and Gyo? And I know nothing about Tomie, so if that is a lot better than Uzumaki, let me know. Maybe I'll check that out someday. And if you know any other cool horror manga, I'd like to know about that too. Because maybe I'll find out that I'm wrong, and that and maybe in the future I'll be like, oh, they should adapt this into an anime, and then we'll finally have some more good horror anime adapted from great horror manga. If you like what I do here, please sub down below. It means a lot to me. Follow me on Twitter at GyraMedia. And if you'd like to ask me some questions live, I am live every Sunday at 9 p.m. as part of the Sugoi Boys podcast on this channel with myself, The Art of Anime, and J-Chip from The J-Chip Show. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Miasma from GyraMedia, signing out.